Hello students, today we are going to start with a new topic, that is the story of democracy. This is the third chapter from book 2. So let's go through the points. Now what is democracy? Now democracy is a form of government of the people, by the people and for the people. There are two types of democracy or categories. The first type is the direct democracy. Okay, all the citizens without the intermediary of elected or appointed officials can participate in public decision. And the another is the representative democracy. Now citizens elected officials to make political decisions. Now in our India we are presenting representative democracy, so we are electing the MLAs, MPs, and they are electing the rulers. We are not having direct democracy. Now let's begin with the chapter, that is the story of Indian democracy. Now what is the Indian democracy? Let's go through the points. Now let's start with the Indian constitution. Now the core value of Indian democracy. So many structural cultural changes that British colonization brought about deliberately. Some of the changes that came about happened in unintended fashion. So due to British, there were structural and cultural changes, as we have studied in the previous classes. So British did not intend to produce them. For instance, to sort Western education, to create Western Indian middle class, that Western educated middle class that would help the colonial rulers to continue their rule. So the Britishers wanted that if the Indians study the Western culture, get the Western education, they will help the Britishers. But you can see that Indian middle class people were very much reacting against the British or colonial rule. So like that, by instead of aiding the British rule, they used Western liberal ideas of democracy, social justice and nationalism to challenge colonial rule. So they use the education, they use the progress to challenge the British colonial rule. Okay. So they were searching on the Western liberal ideas of democracy, how to be independent country, social justice was being accumulated, nationalism was emerged. So this was a rational thinking which came in 19th century. So this intended them to throw out the colonial rule. Now democratic values and democratic institutions are purely Western. Our ancient epics, our diverse folk tales from one corner of the country to another are full of dialogues, discussions, constructing positions. Think of any folk tale, riddle, folk song, or any story from any epic that reveals the viewpoint. For example, Mahabharata. We saw that the both of the modern ideas or of equality and traditional ideas of justice. So basically our Indian or ancient society was full of Western ideas. So in this also, in this our dramas, in the epic song, it is a combination of modern ideas of equality and traditional ideas of justice. So our Indian constitution is basically the bedrock of democracy. So in the Karachi session spells out the vision of democracy, that is a nationalist movement in India. So you noticed that how the preamble of the Indian constitution seeks to ensure not just political justice but also social economic justice. So the equality is not just about the equal political rights but also status and opportunity. So these are the notions where the Karachi revolution had, or Karachi resolution has been pointed out. So it was basically the political justice, social justice and economic justice. Equality was not only the basis of political, on the basis of politics. So let's go through some points of Constituent Assembly debate, a history. Now this Constituent Assembly, in 1939 Gandhiji wrote an article of Harijans called The Only Way, in which he said the Constituent Assembly can alone be produce a constitution indigenous to the country and truly and fully representing the will of the people, one based on unadulterated adult franchise for both men and women. Okay. So it was basically saying about the universal adult franchise, where the Gandhiji said that everyone should get the equality, that is the Harijans also should get the, Harijans and the rich people should get the equal rights for voting on the basis of universal adult franchise. So this contained the declaration that India should be republic, whether the declared social, economic, political justice will be guaranteed to all peoples of India. So this committee also, or Constituent Assembly also said that it should, the India should have be a republic, and social, economic, political justice should be guaranteed to every peoples of the of India. So this was the thing. One matter of social justice, there is a likely debate on whether government functions should be prescribed and the state should be bound down to them. Issues debated ranges from right to employment, right to social security, land for reforms, to property rights, to organization of panchayats. So these were the social rights which were very much necessary to the peoples. Okay. Now this was basically this was the function or the debate of Constituent Assembly, that they should provide the republic way, that every person should get a social, economic and political justice. Now comes the competing interests, the constitution and the social change. Now in India exists at many levels. The multi-religion, multicultural composition of the population which distinct the streams of tribal culture is one of the aspect of plurality. So basically it is saying that India is having a diverse population. Some are rich, some are having multicultural, some are having different notions, some there is tribal population also. There is a plurality of diverse people. So many divides the Indian people. The impact that the culture, religion, that a caste has on rural-urban divide. There is a very much division between the status of the people. So there is a rural-urban divide, rich-poor divide, and the literate-illiterate are being varied. So deeply stated by the caste and poverty, the groupings and subgroupings are made among the rural peoples. So there is a very much discrimination going on. The urban working comprises a wide range, and then they are well organized in domestic business classes, is also highly professional and commercial class. So urban peoples are very much vocal. They are competing the interest on their Indian social scenario and clamor for their state resources. So urban people or the literate people can ask for their rights or ask for their demands of the resources, but these rural people are being discriminated and they are not being hidden from the resources. Now however, there are some basic objectives laid in constitution and which is generally agreed in Indian political world as obviously just. So this should be empowered of the poor and marginalized, poverty alleviation, ending of the caste, and positive steps to treat all the groups equally. So in the constitution it is written that every people should be treated equally, and there should be poverty alleviations, and poor and marginalized class should be empowered. And the competing interests do not always reflect a class divide. So the take the issue of the like close down of a factory because it emits toxic waste affects the health of the all around the world. Now if a factory closes as because it is producing toxic waste and it is creating harmfulness to the peoples, but so the government is closing the factory. Now this is a matter of life which the constitution protects. Now the constitution is protecting closing the factory because it is a matter of right that people should not be harmed. The flip side is that the closure will render the people jobless. The factory workers will be jobless. Now livelihood is again the matter of the life of constitution protects. So both only the constitution protects. It is interesting, at the time of drawing up the constitution, the Constituent Assembly was fully aware of this complexity and plurality but was intent on securing social justice as guaranteed. So constitution knows that this is where they should protect the lives of the people as by closing the factories as it was emitting toxic gases. But on the other hand, they also know that there was a complexity in the life of the factory workers, But it is interesting that drawing up the Constitution Assembly was fully aware of the complexity and plurality of the both situations, but was on securing the social justice as guaranteed. So it was securing the social justice. So Constitution and social change is related in this way only. So it will change the society, as because it was harming the people, but on the other hand they were also feeling that there was a factory workers losing their jobs, but they will guarantee the social justice only. They will not promote the toxic gas to emit for the those factory workers. So this was a constitution and social change. Okay, now constitutional norms and social justice interpretation to aid social justice. Now there are some norms and social justice in constitution. Let's go through it. Now it is useful to understand there is a difference between the law and the norms. The essence of law is force, and the law is law because it carries the means to coercive or force obedience. So the law is force, it imposes on the people, they should stop that thing from doing it. The power is the state behind it. The essence of the justice is fairness. So the constitution is providing norms and social justice. So basically the law is basically forcing them to be in a fair or justice way. Any system of law functions to a hierarchy of authorities. So the basic norm from which all other rules and authorities come or flow is called the constitution. Now from the constitution all the basic laws or norms comes out. Okay, now these laws and norms are made implemented by the authority specified by the constitution. A hierarchy of court which two authorities created by the constitution interpret the law where there is a dispute. So these are the laws or norms where it flows from the constitution. And there is a hierarchy of court, like Supreme Court, High Court, then comes local courts. So these way the laws or the norms go through. And the Supreme Court is the highest court and the ultimate interpreter of the constitution. So Supreme Court is the ultimate interpreter of the constitution. So these are the social constitutional norms or social justice that the Supreme Court should follow, and on the basis of the constitution. So constitution is basically the bedrock of the Indian democracy. So it is holding the Indian democracy in a perfect way. The constitution is not just a reference of do's and don'ts for social justice. It is also having the potential for meaning of social justice to be extended. Social movement has also aided the court authorities to interpret the content of rights and principles in keeping with the contemporary understanding on social justice also. So law courts are site where contempting views are debated. Law and courts are sites where the contempting views are being debated. The constitution remains a means to channelize and civilize political power towards social welfare. Now constitution is basically remains as a channelize and civilize political powers to social welfare. So constitution is basically focusing on the people's progress, people's protection of life. So it is basically channelizing the political power into social welfare or social well-being of the people. So this is a notion where constitutional norms and social justice are acting as it is interpreting the basic bedrock of our law is constitution. So it is basically promoting the